Hello humans, here we are with episode 2 of Seduce Me. I don't know. Oh, I'm just gonna press the button. Breakfast smells good.
We should be done with breakfast soon. If you want to sit down at the table, you can.
I nodded before sitting down. As I sat down, however, my mind drifted back to the dream I had. That feeling of hostility around me made my body shudder instinctively. I knew it wasn't real. However, as my eyes closed, I felt a hand place itself on top of my head, breaking me out of my thoughts. Huh?
Morning. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sam, the owner of the hand on my head, raised an eyebrow at me before rustling my hair and moving away to sit down at the table. He then barked towards the kitchen where James was working.
Hey! Is the food done yet? I'm starving!
Me same.
There's no need to yell, Sam!
You're yelling too!
Don't argue with me!
Lol. Sibling logic. From behind me, Eric appeared and sat beside me, rubbing his temples in obvious annoyance.
Can we not yell this early in the morning? It's not like we're in the castle.
Castle? For some reason, when I heard the word castle, I couldn't help but yell in surprise. These guys had a castle. Sam looked at me and smirked at my reaction.
Yeah, we have a castle back home. Our dining room's 10 times bigger than this room.
Wow.
And wouldn't it be logical to not yell?
Whatever.
Soon, James and Damien appeared, carrying plates full of bacon, eggs, toast, and waffles. They placed the plates down by each seat before sitting down themselves. I can't... The wording of this.
My favorite.
Finally.
Thank you for the breakfast. It looks amazing.
It's our pleasure.
All of a sudden, my phone began to ring, asking me to pull it from my pocket and answer. Hello?
Hey, good morning! Guess who's at your door right now?
Fuck. Right on cue, there was a knock from the lobby door. My heart stopped. Suzu and Naomi were here.
I'll get it!
My heart quickly began to pound in my chest. Matthew was in the lobby, and he'd get to the door first. I instantly jumped out of my chair and rushed out of the dining room. As I passed through the archway between the dining room and lobby, I saw Matthew reach his hand for the breast or handle, causing the world to go in slow motion. Matthew, don't! But before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suzu.
That
face. I can't. The world around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air go from warm to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
I could not believe this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week was already bad enough. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone do something other than stand there.
Who are you?
Suzu, let me explain.
What's going on here?
Who's at the door, Matthew?
Oh, shit. Soon, the other incubi appeared in the lobby with us. This situation was not getting pretty. I had to think fast.
Then why did one of them open the door?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
What? It was no use. There was no time to lie to them. I felt helpless. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder and felt that tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me. Oh, dear.
We must apologize, ladies. We know this situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll explain everything.
I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he going to tell them who they were? Everything seemed surreal. Be a nice, refreshing difference. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi, and sat across from their confused gazes. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Eric and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing! Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meal.
Eric!
Make sure you dig in!
Matthew. Oh. I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. Okay, to be fair, they're probably already using whatever it is. You know, like, let's be honest here. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face. Oh boy.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, gently, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
Shit, that's clever as fuck.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for.
Shit, I don't know how to feel about any of this.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Yeah, something like that.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time, I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me an understanding look, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision. Think I'm leaving? You're funny.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Besides, it's my housewarming party. I should help out too.
Want us to help out as well?
Oh, come on. I think we've got it all taken care of. Thanks, though, girls.
All right, we'll head on out then so we're not in the way.
Stay! Sorry, guys. I'll hang out with you guys soon.
It's all good, Anderson. We'll definitely come to the housewarming party tonight.
Thank you. I led them back into the lobby and walked them to the doors, opening it for them with a thankful smile. They both gave me hugs before walking out to Naomi's car, which was parked in the driveway. And with that, they left. I was happy that they wanted to help, but I had to do this on my own. It was not their work, so I didn't want to force it on them just because they were my best friends. That's, that makes sense. We had the entire day to work. The party was tonight, and we had to do all we could to make everything right. We sat down and talked about what needed to happen before the party started that night. Each guy had been assigned a different part of the party to do, and right after lunch, we began to work. Since everything was taken care of by at least one incubus, James told me I could assist one of them. The question was, who? Crap. Oh, no. I have to make a decision. I'm assuming this starts the actual romance plot. I'm really starting to like all of them. So I'm gonna do like all of them eventually, so I guess pick my least favorite, I guess. But I don't questions and things, and I'm kind of... I know Gloom did Damien, and I watched a little bit of that, so I think I'm gonna do him second. And then I think Matthew might be last, because I really, really like him and his adorable nature. And the way he's very gentle and stuff. I'll discuss that later. I'm really liking Sam. James or Eric? Eric. Let's go with Eric. I stayed in the dining room knowing that the table had to become a buffet table. As I looked around the room carefully, I noted that the floor needed waxing and the table surfaces needed major dusting. Eric came up next to me, lowered a small mop and bucket he had brought in the room, and rolled his sleeves up higher on his arm before looking at me with a raised eyebrow.
Are you sure you want to work with me with cleaning this place up? It'll be a lot of cleaning and tidying. Plus, we have to move the chairs to the corner.
I shook my head, rolling up my sleeves and walking to the table, grabbing a hold of a chair. I think I can handle lifting a couple chairs and moving them. Eric smiled at me with a soft chuckle before following my lead. Eventually, we had moved all the chairs to the corner of the room and began cleaning the room and the table. Silence consumed the air as we both focused on cleaning. I decided to start mopping the floor, but as I stepped toward the bucket, my foot rolled over a small, fluffy object, causing me to slip. Ah! Before I hit the floor, however, I wound up in the arms of Eric, of course, staring up at him in a dance-like dip while gripping onto his shirt. His face held pure concern as he held on and looked down at me. Oh dear.
Are you all right, Princess?
Stop. Just nod. All I could do was nod as I stared at Eric. He was genuinely concerned. There was no flirtation or smirk on his face. It was cute to see a new side of him. Eric let out a can't talk, guys. Eric let out a small sigh in relief.
That's a relief. You didn't twist your ankle, did you?
No, I'm fine. Gently, I felt Eric's arm dip under my knees so he could lift me up bridal style. I gripped tighter onto his shirt before he sat me on the table and knelt down to look at my feet. I'm really fine. Eric didn't speak as he gently looked over my ankles, lightly massaging them to test for pain. I didn't feel any pain. I felt pleasure. I bit my lip as Eric gently massaged his fingers over my skin. Wow. I'd had foot massages before, but Eric had amazing skill. Each touch and press sent a wave of pleasure running up my spine. I had to fight to hold back a moan. Oh dear, this is me in real life. Eric's face, though, didn't shift to any mischief or seduction. It remained as concerned as ever. He was full of surprises. Eventually, he finished looking over my feet and smiled in relief. He slowly stood up and smiled his usual smile, at me with a small giggle. Oh.
You were right, princess. You were fine.
Thanks. Eric gently lifted me off the table and lowered me to the floor before placing a sweet kiss onto my forehead and continuing his work. I stood there for a moment before slowly walking to the bucket and cleaning as well. My heart continued to pound as we both finished cleaning that room. Oh dear. Just right off the bat. Okay. I'm okay with this. I'm very okay with this. Don't tell my dad. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executive of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
All right. Girl, you're cute. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched Naomi and Suzu's faces turn from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Thanks.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Oh, my heart. Oh, you're all so cute. Oh, they're color coordinated. My heart. Oh, look at them. Oh. I'm fine. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants. I can't. They're so cute. I can't.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down that final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Child. Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
This seems like the most... This one. I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all that I could to prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boys smiled assuredly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Cute. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
Dad? I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys? They didn't ask for verification or anything? I looked at the boys and noticed Sam and Eric... I can't. Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous! You look so lovely.
Thanks.
David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
Thanks, Dad! The world around me stopped as my heart pounded in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord. My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, this cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
No, definitely not. What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight.
Of course.
Even the vice chairman's son will be coming.
Oh.
All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential.
To become CEO of the company.
Dad. I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me in encouragement. That's adorable. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden, the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say. That's sad.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
Oh dear. I'm doing my best.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Thank you.
Do you have college plans?
Yes, I do. I felt the questions come up one after the other. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me, they were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
The what?
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
Eventually the questions stopped, and I was back to being myself. Naomi and Suzu were mingling in the crowds, and the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. That's my life in a sentence. Yep. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
Oh boy. Aw, he's adorable. Sorry, what? With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, asking for it.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
Obviously, I had to be polite. As I placed my hand in his, he raised it to his lips and kissed it over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips over his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. The next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO. I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
You're a bit harsh.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. Follow him, obviously. Who do you think I am? I quickly followed Andrew, wanting to be sure he was alright. I felt a little embarrassed that my dad put him on the spot like that. I had to apologize. Oh dear. We went up outside. The stars practically danced on the grass as we stood in the backyard of the mansion. It had been my first time in years being out here, but my thoughts weren't on the nostalgia. Hey, Andrew? Andrew turned to me in surprise. However, his face was completely red with both embarrassment and humiliation. I felt terrible.
Oh, I didn't see you or hear you following. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I should be the one to apologize.
What for? You didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, for the way my dad behaved. He shouldn't have been so...
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, I should have expected it and been more prepared.
Andrew rubbed the back of his neck and gave a goofy grin. It was intriguing, seeing Andrew's professional side and then seeing the goofy smile away from everyone. Still, I'm sorry for that.
It's not a problem, really, but Thank you.
We both smiled at each other before I reached my hand out to him. He tilted his head and raised an eyebrow in confusion. Tanner. My name is Tanner. Oh, hello. Oh, hello, indeed. Oh. In understanding, his smile returned before he took my hand and gently shook it.
That's a pretty name. I'm happy to know it now.
Thanks. It's not that nice.
I have to disagree with you. It's much better than Andrew. I mean, who names their kid Andrew?
A lot of people do.
But how about Axel or Ace?
Axel's
Something
a great
cool like
name.
that.
I couldn't help but laugh at him. He was pretty chill for a guy who was supposed to be vice chairman's son. He grinned and laughed along and laughed. Yes. I don't know why, but I felt warm. Whether it was the almost non-existent breeze or the situation we found ourselves in, it felt nice.
Lewis.
Son of a bitch. And just like that, the feeling had vanished. We both turned to see my dad at the doors of the mansion, staring at Andrew with almost deadly glare. Andrew straightened up, trying to maintain a business posture.
Yes, sir?
Your limo is in the front. The driver has requested that you return home. Now.
Oh, for crying out loud.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Andrew quickly nodded to me before speeding back to the mansion to leave. As I took a step to follow, my dad stepped in front of me. Dad.
I don't want to hear it. Do not become friendly with him. He wants to take the company away from us. You have no reason to be friends with him.
I mean... Before I could retort, my dad turned away and walked back inside, muttering about how the party was nearing an end. I sighed and entered the house as well, wanting for the party to end immediately. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared at him, a wave of confusion washing over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
Keep it up and you'll be a good CEO.
Thanks. Oh, right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Oh, right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. Whew, my beautiful boys. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building. All but my dad, waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I sighed and sat in the staircase, exhausted. That was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, Princess.
Shh.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
I love Sam so much.
Hush, Sam.
Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
Damn it. I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked, alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Who the fuck it is? All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Well, hi! Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dry blood covered the bandana around his neck. as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Aw, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. Shit. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face, but...
What the fuck?
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud and empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had, however... Wait, what?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
Then what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Fuck off. Malix suddenly laughed wildly, staring at me in disbelief.
Whoa! Who let the bitch out of her cage?
Well, fuck you.
What is this? A reverse harem or something?
Yes, please. Malix grinned at me evilly, walking close to me. Duck. I ducked underneath Malix's incoming hand. I stared at his hand and the black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple of steps back from Malix. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Malix with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up!
Oh, did I make little Matthew cry? Why don't you just grow a pair?
Enough, Malix.
The woman, who had been standing in silence the whole time, planted a firm hand on Malix's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you do. But now's not the time.
Fuck off! I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that they would glow from under their teeth. Fire would glow. What? I can't read, guys. I'm sorry. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Then Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me. God damn it.
Whoa! Are you alright?
Hey. Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
You should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference.
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the Abyssal Planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
Good to know.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was also confusing. Demons and devils and magic all exist, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he...
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic, devils, demons. How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with this situation? They're only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life would go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? No. If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the house on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life... Where was my life going, anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever.
You're so important to me.
Who is this?
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
Okay, what?
I want to be with you.
I love you.
What's happening? The voices. I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to get back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? Explore the house. I decided it was a good time to wander around the house. I never really explored it much as a child, so there were bound to be new surprises. Well, come on, feet, let's go on an adventure. I stood and exited the room, hoping that the boys were still asleep. I began to wander the halls on my end of the house, opening each door to find what room each door led to. Quickly, I found an office. A desk and chair sat by the far side as a large bookshelf of documents and memorabilia donned its nooks and crannies. There were a couple of pictures of me growing up peeking from the shelf as I walked further into the room. I don't believe I've been in here before. I tried to recall memories of ever seeing this room, coming up with nothing as a result. This room was new to me. Did I want to disturb the furniture? I'm curious. It's my freaking house. Do whatever I want. I gently opened the shelves and any drawers I saw in the room. A couple of them were books and even sewing kits. I assumed they were used for my grandfather's toys, so I left them alone. One drawer, however, was locked, no matter how many times I pulled. Come on. Open. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. The drawer beside it, though, did, revealing a laptop. Why is there a laptop in a drawer? I lifted it up from the door and carried over to the desk. Opening it. It was a high-tech laptop with a retina scanner and a pass lock. I was not sure whether or not to try and unlock it. Try. I decided to try. I turned on the computer and leaned my face near the retina scanner, aiming at the camera with my eye. To my surprise, I heard a ping from the computer before a screen opened to a desktop. Huh. Look at that. The desktop were documents, folders labeled with different aspects of Anderson Company. Taxes, profits, bylaws, products. The list went on and on. If I really did want to become the CEO of Anderson Toys Company, I had everything about it at my fingertips. Dad would sure be impressed. One icon, however, stood out from the rest. Virago? I double-clicked the icon, but no window came up. Instead, I heard a large click come from the drawer that was locked. What the? I slowly left my seat and walked over to the drawer, attempting to open it again. It slid open smoothly in the direction of my pulling hand, revealing two books. One was a plain black journal with a tie to keep it closed. The other was bound in leather with cryptic symbols all over the cover. I took out the journal and skimmed through it, seeing my grandfather's notes. They were all detailed explanations and opinions on his findings on demon magic. He really did know about magic. I sat down at the desk and read through the journal further, finding drawings and sketches of symbols and magic circles, each with their own different meanings and effects. It was all fascinating. There was even a page of important spells to know. I read through them, trying to memorize them in my mind. I don't know what came over me, but I started to feel more energetic and more powerful simply reading my grandfather's notes. I was suddenly aware of the energy that surrounded my body and the power that was around the house. The more I read, the more powerful I became. However, my mind suddenly froze, and I found myself walking back to the drawer, putting the book back, and closing the drawer. The lock reset, and I snapped out of it. Huh? What? I shook my head and looked at the drawer, realizing what I had done. I walked over to the desk to reopen the lock, but suddenly felt the need to stop. Something held me back and didn't want me to pry any more what I already had. I was curious beyond belief, but I obeyed my thoughts for now. Eventually I would come back and look into it. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes. Back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet I felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle, with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. Don't disturb them. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. It was better not to disturb them. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make cold cut sandwiches, because why not? I assembled simple ham sandwiches for all of us. After I poured some potato chips on the side of each sandwich, I felt satisfied. Who said lunch had to be cooked? I placed the food in the dining room. However, one of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand and to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. Who do you think I am? I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. Yup. I knew it. I returned to the backyard, hoping to find Incubus still there. Luckily, my gut feeling was right. Eric was beside the gazebo, looking at a small flower that was growing on the railing. As I approached, Eric turned his head and smiled his usual smile.
Hello, Princess.
Hey, Eric. I got some lunch for you.
Really? You did not have to do that, Princess.
Child. No. It's fine. Here. Eric smiled and took his food, eating a little bit before looking to the flower again. Out of curiosity, I looked as well. It was a simple white daisy in full bloom. Eric shook his head and chuckled softly as I joined him in flower gazing.
Sorry, I was simply reminded of home.
Oh no, you're fine. What about home were you reminded of? Eric looked to the sky with a soft sigh and smile before looking to the flower once more.
The castle, mainly. Despite us not being there anymore, it was still our home. We grew up there our entire lives as brothers. There wasn't a day that went by when we weren't all doing something exciting. It was an empty excitement, of course, but it was still something that bonded us all together.
Eric slightly trailed off, looking lost in the nostalgia of his thoughts. I didn't know if I wanted to bother him while he remembered something so obviously important to him. Please tell me more. Eric turned again to me with a slightly surprised look.
You wish to know more?
Why not? I'm really curious about the place you lived in. Eric nodded before looking at the flower again. After a second, he gained a look of realization before looking at me again.
Would you like me to show you something instead?
What? I tilted my head in confusion, but nodded nonetheless. What was I expecting could not have prepared me for what I saw. Eric gently brushed his fingers against the petals of the daisy, making it gently quake at his touch. As the daisy abnormally shivered, its petals shifted from white to purple. The yellow center gently faded to a pink hue as the stem began to burn black. I could only stare as Eric plucked the flower from its place and presented it to me.
Watch closely.
I kept my eyes to the flower as Eric began to mutter something. It sounded close to Latin, but I wasn't sure. Regardless, the flower began to glow in Eric's hand. A small crystal-like spores floated up from the pink center and began to form a circle in the air. As the circle closed, the center filled with smoke, forming a screen of some sort. It was misty, so I couldn't see anything. What is this?
Just watch.
I raised an eyebrow, but followed his instruction. Eventually, the mist faded away, revealing a large throne room. It was all of stone and tile, with the throne itself covered in red fabric and gold metal. Despite being a mere image in a magic mirror, I felt small looking at the side of the throne room. Wow, it looks amazing.
That's our castle. It's a wonderful place. Servants and parties galore.
Does your father sit on the throne when he's at the parties?
Very much so. He despises dancing and socializing, so he makes the throne his home.
Do you think he's still there now? I must have struck a small chord with Eric, because he hesitated before responding. Eric smiled only slightly.
We don't know. When we left, we didn't look back. However, we are sure he's still there, since no one followed us out of the abyssal plains.
I bit my lip. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. I felt really bad. However, I didn't feel it for long. The magic suddenly stopped and faded away while Eric dropped the daisy. As the daisy turned back to its white and yellow color, Eric dropped to a knee, groaning in pain. Eric! Are you alright?
Yes, Princess. I'm fine. I just used too much energy, that's all.
I dropped to a knee to try and examine Eric closer. His face was pale, while purplish eyes shifted back and forth between purple and gold. His breath was heavy, which concerned me. He used too much energy? That meant he needed more.
Please don't worry, Princess. I'm fine. Don't worry your beautiful head about it.
Kiss him. I'm sorry. I can't. I felt responsible. I had to help. I quickly grabbed Eric's face and tilted his head to an angle with mine. Shifting myself closer, I brought my lips to his and kissed him deeply. I didn't know if this would help, but it was how he got energy before. I shut my eyes, waiting for the draining feeling to reappear in my body. However, Eric grabbed my shoulders and forced me back. I opened my eyes and stared into his frightened golden eyes in surprise. At the same time, I noticed a pink hue run from Eric's face.
Princess? What are you doing?
I don't know why, but I felt both irritated and accomplished at the question and the look he was giving me. Where was his flirting? Where was his cocky smirk? From what I remembered, he took advantage of me when we first met, yet now he was somehow acting inferior to me. I grabbed his hands and removed them from my shoulders, tangling my fingers with his. I'm trying to help and give you some of my energy. You used your energy to show me that sight, so I want to pay you back for that. Unless you don't want me to help.
Well, I've already taken your energy once before.
That was before. I want to give you energy now. Just let me. All of a sudden, I felt that familiar feeling of warmth run through my body once again. I felt my body slightly heat up as Eric quickly released my hands and wrapped them around my waist, dropping to both knees in front of me. He stared at me with desire in his gaze as he pulled my body to his. Eric leaned his forehead to mine, letting the tips of our noses gently caress each other as he spoke.
You spoil me.
Oh, shit. Whew, I'm fine, everyone. Oh, wow. Okay. Whew. Just give me a second. I'm fine. I'm 100% fine. Wow. Whew. Okay. Before I knew it, I was on top of Eric as he laid on the grass below. I stared wide-eyed as he pulled me into a hot and passionate kiss with a gentle hand on the back of my head. Eric's other hand rested on the small of my back while I rested my hands on his chest. I moved myself to straddle his hips to be comfortable in the kiss. The energy of my body was slowly draining, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and how willing I was in this situation. Still, I had no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. While Eric held me, he gently rolled us both over so he was on top of me, kissing me hotly and holding me tightly. I was tempted to wrap my legs around him, but I remained focused on the kiss. It was better that I was on the bottom anyway, with my energy slowly fading from my body. However, the draining feeling suddenly stopped as Eric pulled it away and looked down at me. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I had never kissed like that before, and was so lost in the moment that I forgot how to breathe. Eric, however, didn't move from me, but moved a strand of hair from my face, eyes still full of desire.
I'm completely full, and yet I still desire you.
Child. I could feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give anymore. Keep going. Thank you. What do you think I am? I opened the opportunity, and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was going to let him keep going. I wanted to keep going. I reached up, pulled him down, and kissed him, giving him silent approval to keep going. I could feel him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and following his hand off from around my neck. He moved the ribbon around beside me before gently unbuttoning the top of the buttons of my blouse, stopping at the buttons above my stomach. The desire in my body drove me insane, forcing a moan to escape my lips as he ran kisses from my lips to my exposed neck. I am burning up right now. Okay, I need to calm down. Wow. Oh my goodness. This is intense. Hold on. Wow. As he began to ravish my neck and shoulder in hot kisses, I leaned my head back against the grass and let a pleasureful sigh escape my lips. Eric was ruthless in his passionate kisses on my skin. Eric didn't stop touching and kissing me, making more moans and gasps rush out of my mouth into the open air. He was full, but he was hot as I was. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was so lost in pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I really didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything at that moment, even as he lowered his kisses down to my chest just above my bra. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about Eric intrigued me immensely, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate to be lust. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the sky start to spin almost wildly. I gripped into Eric's shoulders, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sound. I felt good. I didn't care that I was blacked out. I felt warm and fuzzy in the darkness. I never knew indulging in that kind of passion would be that good. I know. I just waited to awaken, hopefully in a good way. My eyes eventually fluttered open, adjusting to the sight around me. I felt familiar silks beneath me, letting me know that I was in my bed. I slowly sat up, stretching from the tiredness that still lingered. I felt a very soft pain on my neck and shoulders, and I could feel my swollen lips pulse gently in healing. However, when I looked down at my body, I saw that my shirt had been pulled back up and rebuttoned as if nothing had happened between me and Eric. I was just missing my ribbon. Before I turned to get out of bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow beside the one I slept on. It was tied in a nice bow around the daisy Eric had picked with a small note attached to it. Oh my god. Oh, that's cute. I'm fine. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
You've spoiled me, my princess. I am eternally grateful that you let me indulge like that. Have a good rest.
It was cute, though, to imagine him taking me for something we both did, thanking me, and enjoyed. I brought the daisy to my nose and gently inhaled its soft fragrance, letting the memories of our meeting flood my mind. Oh, wow. I indulged myself too, Eric. I looked into the time out of curiosity. The large white numbers on my phone showed 5:31 p.m. Yikes, 4 hours of being knocked out, and I still feel tired. It was Sunday, so I was allowed to sleep longer if I wanted to. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but I felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? Amen! I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, must be my lucky day. Karma owed me some luck. After all I'd gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved that. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30. That's early. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs toward the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with a sugar and creamer on the table. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? I spoke aloud. A small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. I'm fine. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him? I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious I devoured every amazing bite. I looked to the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anybody, but I still needed to look decent. But before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see Eric, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Eric, miss. I want you to know my real name, if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? I remembered reading about a demon's name from the journal I read yesterday. If you knew a demon's true name, you could summon them to you, no matter where you were, or they were. Eric gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear, Guys, I am on fire.
Is Uzaeris.
Uzaeris. I'm fine. Oh, wow. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. Eric pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
My heart. Wow! Oh, I stared up at Eric, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Eric smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. Gonna pause it right here, I think. Hold on. Oh. Wow. Save. Let's go page 2. And then